Thank you to everyone that subscribed. Here's 5 things you must know before you buy a house that nobody tells you. First thing, don't rush. Your realtor needs to own a house, and if they don't, get another realtor. Don't use friends, and don't use any realtor that doesn't own their own house. They should believe in what they sell enough to buy the product they're selling. So that's the first red flag. And look at as many houses as you want. Don't feel rushed by your realtor. Number 2, your expenses, that means the mortgage of the home you're buying should not exceed 20% of what your income is. 20 to 30% is the most your mortgage should be. In my opinion, including utilities. You don't want to move into a house and figure out all the utilities is $1,000 to $2,000 on top of the mortgage every month. So know your expenses to the penny. Like, you need to know how much is coming out of your bank account to the penny every single month before you buy a house and increase your monthly expenses by 20 to 30%. Number 3 is location. You need to look around like a 5 to 10 square mile radius within the house you're buying and see the development. Is it growing? Is it dying? Is it on a bad side of town? A good side of town where they're building and developing and it's growing? New houses are being put there. What you don't want is to buy a house on a dying side of town because it's going to hurt your equity in the future. So drive and look at the area of the home you're buying. Also, the rate of the schools in the area of the house you're buying. You need to look at those. Are they 3-star schools? Are they 2-star schools? If it's a 5-star school district, the houses are going to have a direct correlation and be more expensive than the areas where the school districts are rated 2 stars. Schools have a huge factor in the value of your house when you go to buy a house. So make sure you look up the school ratings. Number 4 is taxes. We got Uncle Sam, don't forget about him. So when you buy a house, you don't just pay property taxes. There's also supplemental taxes. So that means if your home goes up in value compared to the previous homeowner, what they bought it for, you have to pay the difference in that. It's called supplemental tax bill. So like the year after I bought my house, I had to pay $1,600 out of pocket because it went up over $500,000, and the previous homeowners bought it for $300,000. So I have to pay the difference. Even if you pay your house off, you're still going to pay property taxes every single year to Uncle Sam. I know they don't teach you this in school. It's a heartbreaker, but welcome to the real world. So your mortgage is made up of 3 things. It is your principal, what you owe on your house, what you're buying it for, the interest, and the insurance on your home, and escrow. So when you buy your home, if your mortgage is $2,000 a month, it doesn't mean it's always going to stay $2,000. If your property taxes goes up, if your escrow account has a shortage of money in it, if your home insurance goes up, your mortgage can go up. So usually after you buy a house, your mortgage payment's going to adjust a little bit after the first couple years. So like when I bought my house, I went conventional 20% down. I bought it for $515. I had to pay the supplemental tax bill difference, and then my mortgage payment was $2,300. And then it went up to $2,600 because of basically my home insurance going up, and they needed more money in my escrow account. So just because they tell you what your mortgage payment is doesn't mean it's going to stay the same. Number 5, we got home upgrades. Can you make the house a home, or is it going to cost way too much money? Like little stuff like painting the house, adding a 1 room maybe, or like a mom-in-law quarter in the back, things like that. Like if it's just 1 or 2 things you need, it's not going to be that bad. But if you are buying a fixer-upper house and you plan on adding a pool that are now $100,000 and all this other stuff, you're going to end up spending basically a second house doing all the home upgrades when you could have just waited it out another year or 6 months and just bought the bigger or nicer house that didn't need 200 grand in home upgrades. So think about that stuff. You can do a lot of stuff yourself, but me personally, I I'm not going to take off work for months to do that myself. I'd rather pay someone. So that's why I chose to just buy a more expensive house that didn't need all of the home upgrades. It just needed like a couple little things for me to call it a home. Another reason I say, can you call it a home, is because when I bought this house, like my job, I sell solar. So this house already had a system on it, but it wasn't a deal breaker for me because I pictured my family running around in this house, and I ended up putting my own solar on it anyways. The house is never going to be perfect, but you can always do your own DIY little stuff or do some home upgrades yourself. But I mean, there's a happy medium there, so don't go too far. If you haven't, like and subscribe. If you already have, y'all probably rich already, so I appreciate you. If you ever need solar, you know who to call.